Well, now, just in case you've been living under the rock, guess what happens now? On Monday, I'm making this video on Tuesday, literally yesterday, we had, okay, most of the people who are investors are calling it the Black Monday. Why? Because the global stock or market actually collapsed. And when you say collapsed, we literally mean like almost everything collapsed, starting from cryptocurrency, stocks, index funds, and what have you. They actually went down. By the way, if you've been watching news and you're actually being interested in what we call the international news and the global market and what have you, almost everybody was experiencing a loss. They are like, guess what happens now? The Bitcoin went down. By the way, for information, Bitcoin went down all the way up as I'm making this video. That is on the 6th of November, or rather 6th of August. All right, as I'm making this video, guess what happens now? It's at 30% down. That is Bitcoin. If you go to the Ethereum, it's actually at the same amount of percentage of 30% or thereabout, and they're actually going down. Okay, now the point is the global market is actually experiencing what we call, I don't know, this is a bear market that is actually going down. Okay, now what is exactly happening? That is exactly what I'm going to share with you. And at the tail end of this video, I'm going to share with you what you're supposed to do immediately when you realize this kind of a thing that is happening. Because guess what? I come here and I tell you what you're supposed to invest, and I always keep my ears open so that when I get an opportunity, I share with you what you're supposed to do. Now, here we are. If we can actually paint a picture of exactly what is happening globally in different countries and what have you, we can actually understand where this world is actually heading. What propagated all this? Now, listen one thing. Most of the biggest index funds that usually have globally, like the Dow Jones, that controls like 30 companies and what have you, went down by 2.6%. That's a big deal when it comes to the market. If you check out on things like NASDAQ, this is a tech heavy, sort of a index fund, actually went down by 3.6%. All right. If you go check out something like, S&P 500, this is another index fund that you find, not really index fund, this is an index that actually went down by 3%. And this is actually one of the, index that is regarded as the most stable globally, because actually, guess what happens now? This is an index that brings forth together over 500 companies, they are put together, and it's known to be that company or that index that is where gives better returns. And it has a track record of over 50 years, it being on the positive trajectory. But anyway, when you zoom out from that graph, you can actually see a positive trajectory. But you zoom in that particular day, or let's say just for 2 weeks ago or a week or something, the market has actually been going down and such kind of a thing. Let's shoot out to go to places like, when you talk about the shares also has gone down by quite a big percentage, like 5.5%. The FTSE has actually gone down by, this is actually a United Kingdom. It's like our NSE, it's like their NSE, that is Nairobi Securities Exchange. The FTSE went down by 2%. Yeah, I know by now I'm speaking Greek, or may sound as if I'm speaking Greek. I'm going to explain what I'm talking about later, okay? The Frankfurt DAX, that is is it DAX or DAX, whatever. That is for the Germany one, okay? Also went down by 2% and what have you. Now, what exactly is going on in this global market? What should we do at the end of the day? Now, what I'm supposed to tell you, or before I even tell you what you're supposed to do, hey, come on, go ahead and hit the like button. Make sure that you subscribe. Make sure that as well you keep that notification bell so be notified. By the way, guess what? If there is something that I consume all the time, as we speak right now, my telly there is on the BBC. The other one is on the CNN. I have a computer here is on the France 24. The other one here is on. I love listening to this, global market, how the thing is happening, so that by the time I'm coming here, I have substantive information. But I try as much as I can to make sure that I don't share the complicated language of investments. I simply use what we call the layman's language so that you understand what exactly is going on. All right. So if you never want to miss a good of my videos so that you know where to invest, that's why I always tell you, go ahead and subscribe to this YouTube channel. Make sure that you turn that notification bell, okay? This is the African authenticity, and make sure I go ahead and make sure that you subscribe, or rather go ahead and comment on the comment section and give me that like, okay? Now, okay, fine. So what are the contributions of these happenings in this global market? Well, two things. Number one, of course, America is the biggest giant that we have on earth. It's the biggest economy that we have, and whatever happens in America, actually, it trickles down to all the countries globally. Why? Because the United States dollar, it's arguably that currency that almost everyone backs their wealth on. And of course, whenever there is something wrong in that country, then it means that that thing can actually be sort of a contagion or something of sort. So there was something that went that most of the people didn't realize, unless you're American, that there was actually what we call the number of jobs that were actually put into the market was way lower than the expected rate. Number two, there is this fear of the economy actually going to the recession. Recession is simply the situation where an economy, the real GDP, instead of it growing, actually goes down. Like, okay, fine. There are different parameters that are used to measure the growth domestic product. This is like all the wealth of a company or a country put together. That's what is being sold, produced, imported, and what have you. All that thing, when you put together, is called a GDP. And we have different parameters that are used to measure the economy. You have the GDP, nominal GDP per capita, HDI, Gini, and whatever. There are very many parameters that are used. Now, when it comes to the GDP, when you talk about the recession, it means that the economy is actually contracting, is going down. The economy of US actually grew at an average of 2.8%, which is relatively okay. It was actually ahead of other big economies or Western or first world economies. But again, that wasn't enough because people have the fears that it might actually go to the recession. And of course, when it goes to the recession, it means that the dollar demand will actually kind of go a little bit low or something of sort. I don't know what exactly is happening. And of course, there is another issue of the Japan, actually the yen going up. It means that if you had borrowed from the yen, whatever, there's a lot of complicated things that I won't even explain for now. But what I'm going to explain to you is that there is that thing, the recession fear, and of course the number of jobs that are actually created actually went way down than what we actually expected. And of course, what happens is that a lot of doubts as far as the US economy is concerned. People are saying the US economy is actually slowing down, is going down, all those kind of things. And I think that's why the market behaved as such. Well, I know some people may attribute it to the election, some people may attribute it to whatever it is. So that is exactly what happens. Now, what exactly are we supposed to do? Because there is this fear of that these things that can actually contaminate to other countries. Just like I said, if the America catches the cough, or rather if the America coughs, everyone catches that cold. So it is good to make sure that at all the time you make sure that you stay put. By the way, there is a video that is coming up after this, and the video is all about why you should buy stocks or shares right now. By the way, let me tell you one secret. Never show up when everyone is at the shop. You go to the shop when everyone is not even at the shop. That's when you buy the things at a discounted price. You can imagine right now as you speak. I'm not saying you go buy the Bitcoin. I'm just using it as an example. Bitcoin as you speak, as I'm making this video, is around 52, 51 there. It was actually at 66. In a day or whatever, it has actually gone down by over 15 or 14, yeah, actually 15,000 US dollars. If you convert that into our Kenyan shillings, that's like you losing, if you had a Bitcoin, that's like you losing close, not even close, it's actually over 2.4 or 2.3 billion Kenyan shillings. It's sort of in a single night. You can just imagine that kind of an effect, okay? So the point is, what exactly are you supposed to do when you actually witness this kind of a situation that is happening globally? Just stick around. I'm going to post that video immediately after this. This video was all about to tell you that the global market has actually collapsed. It's actually nose diving. It's heading out there as we speak right now. Some people are actually trying to mitigate and see what exactly can it be done so that at least we do not have ourselves to the extreme cases. Can you remember what happens in the 208 for those who are, for those who are realistic, not really realistic, for those who are a bit conscious about the economies and the global economies and what have you? We wouldn't love to go ourselves back to that particular place. Though recession is not to last for not for a longer period. Maybe let's say for 3 months, 4 months or something of sort, then it goes back to our situation. And that's why in any and every storm, there is always what we call, someone who benefits out of it. Would you believe if I tell you, with this kind of a scenario and cases, some people actually will have made a lot of money and others will make a lot of money. And that's why not you be in that particular situation. That's why I said stick around. Make sure that you watch the next video that I'm going to post out here, because it's all about recession and it's all about market going down. It's all about the bear market and what exactly you can be able to do so that you can benefit out of the same thing. All right. Now, this is the point. Hey, just stick around. By the way, if you're watching this from Kenya and you're a Kenyan, of course, the market has actually been a little bit not so pleasing, because one problem that we experience as a Kenya or in Kenya is that most of the people who invest in our stock market are not even Kenyans. They're actually foreigners. And what they do, they come, they dump their money here, they make some cash. Some of them are big hedge funds. They invest their money, they make a little bit, whatever they're going to make. And then the moment after, maybe they make a substantive interest, whatever they wanted, then they dump our shares, then they disappear with the interest that they have paid or the profit that they have made. And this is why I always try the best as I can to push our, Kenyans to make sure that they invest in those and in these stocks and what have you. And if you're watching me from Nigeria, South Africa, Zimbabwe, whatever the place that you're watching me, all the way even from Liberia, actually see you, some of you guys are watching me from Liberia, go ahead and buy the stocks and shares of your country so that at least you can be the one who supports and actually invests in your economies. Okay, and I'm not discouraging the FDIs, the foreign direct investments and what have you. They can actually come, but let them get an established market whereby everyone is cautious about investment and that kind of a thing. Anyway, this video ain't gonna make it long. Let me just call it this the end of this video, but get what? Stick around, watch this video to the end. And by the way, if you'd like to be carried on or be guided on what you're supposed to do as far as the investment is concerned, how about you go ahead and pick that number of mine from the description of this specific video. Let's talk about investment. I'll be able to take you through step by step. I do have a booklet on shares or stocks on how you can be able to buy them. I also have what we call a booklet on the, other investments like MMF and what have you. Because other thing that actually resulted to this, people were expecting the Federal Reserve to revise the interest rate by bringing them down to make the the loans and the debts a bit affordable. But the Fed did not actually revise the interest, just like which was happening with other economies. So that's also a contributing factor that sort of led to this and that kind of a thing. But anyway, we are still consuming this news so that to understand, because it's a news or there are things that are actually happening in real time. So we are still consuming the news so that we can come here with substantive information. Because you might be like, okay, fine, that's happening out there globally. How will it affect me? You can just imagine how the COVID-19 started. It started in Wuhan in China, and a lot of people were actually ignorant. They were like, that is in China. Okay, I'm just resting somewhere in a village in certain place in Kenya. No, it went all the way. It actually affected you with time. So we don't know what you're experiencing right now. So it's always good to make sure that you take care of ourselves so that we don't get ourselves into the problem. And I told you one thing, I'm not in a mission of making the world a better place. And if I can, well and good. But anyway, the primary mission is to make our pockets a better place. But I know once we do that, and I know once we do that, we can actually transform our country or our continent or even our world to a better place. For now, it's a goodbye and see you in the next one.